Yeah, baby. Oh, I had 100,000 subscribers on this channel. That's unbelievable to me. I quite literally could not do it without you. It's baffling to me 100,000 people have decided to hit subscribe. Crazy. My hometown is 3,000 people, okay? I can die happy. Truly, before hitting 100,000 subscribers, I said, if I die, I won't be happy because I haven't hit a milestone in my life quite like this. No, I mean, I joke. I live a pretty happy life. But this is just an added bonus, and I'm so thankful and so grateful that this is what I get to do every day and that I've met so many wonderful people online. And I just wanted to do a little give back because I'm pretty private on this channel. I don't really explore a lot of Q&As. I've never done one on the main channel. I've done Q&As on my Patreon before, but obviously that's not super public. So I just want to be able to open up questions for people. I asked for questions for 100K Q&A and I got a lot of questions. I think I'm going to be able to zoom through them all. So let me just shut up and answer some questions. Oh, and we're going to be unboxing my YouTube plaque. Let's get into doing this. And I'm going to clip this here for right now. Let's start with some questions. Okay, so the first question that we have is, if you were an English teacher / professor, what books or authors would you feel must be taught that aren't part of the typical literary curriculum in K through 12 or higher education, and why? Okay, so if I was to have a book taught that isn't usually taught, what would it be? I think when I was in high school, I think a lot of the books that I read were pretty good. I have a lot of fond memories of them, though I think it's very important to revisit them again as an adult because I think a lot of them don't really hold weight when you're younger. Some of them can be incredibly transformative, like Lady Chatterley's Lover. When I read that in my AP class, that was really transformative. Also, I think a lot of US curriculums are different based on the school that you go to. For me, it's not like a particular author that I think should be taught. I think it's more of how we should structure it. Like, I would love to see schools introduce these really long epics and you read a section of it every single year. So as you mature and once you reach graduation, you've really developed a story with these characters. You've developed a parallel life. Like, I would love to see I would love to see Count of Monte Cristo taught for like 4 years through 9th grade through 12th grade. As the character is maturing, you're also maturing. I would love to see that. Guys, whoa, this is open. Whoa, that's crazy. A little foam. Look at this. Whoa. Congratulations on your subscriber milestone. We are honored to take part in recognizing your achievement and want your experience to be exceptional. Your award was inspected and packaged with great care by Rick. Thank you, Rick. Oh, and they've got this beautiful little paper. Oh my God, that's crazy. I'm gonna cry. And look at that. Oh my God, guys. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. That's really awesome. Presented to Anna Wallace Johnson for passing 100,000 subscribers. Guys, I really just want you to know how grateful I am. This is probably one of the best accomplishments of my entire life. I am so touched that you've decided to join this journey with me. And hopefully I continue to keep you entertained and keep you happy and keep you coming back for more. This is truly one of the biggest passions of my life, and I'm really thankful. So thank you so much. This means so much. Now I get to put this in the background. How did you and Oleg meet? We met over a cigarette in the apartment that we live in now. We met outside. My friend invited me over for a party. I asked for a cigarette for my friend. They said, I don't have it. Ask my friend Oleg, and Oleg had it, and he gave me a cigarette, and we didn't talk the rest of the night. And then we just kept hanging out as time went on. So yeah, that's how we met. We would frequent the same parties. We both like to dance, and we both like the same type of music. And so we would always just be around people, and we have a lot of the same friends. So my best friends are people that he's known since he was 15. Please tell us more about your Scandinavian roots. I live in Sweden. Hello. Hi. I've been to Sweden. I love Sweden. I have a very close friend that lives in Sweden. I would love to go back to Sweden. It is my roots. Wallace Johnson, surprisingly, is not my real last name. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I like to be a little mysterious. My real last name is very Scandinavian, very Swedish. My grandfather, 100% Swedish. His mother came from Sweden and lived in Chicago, I believe, or Minnesota, I think, but 100% Swedish. Her name was Grandma Peach. Well, that's what my father would call her. And she was not a peach. She was a very tough woman, but I have very deep Scandinavian roots. I know there's a couple of questions about my background and things like that, so I'll just get this out of the way now. My biggest heritage bloodlines are Swedish and Ukrainian. My mother's father was like 100% Ukrainian. Her mother's side was like a little bit more of a mix. My grandfather on my father's side is 100% Swedish, and then my grandmother a little bit more of a mix, but the basic bloodlines are Swedish, Ukrainian. But I usually list it off like this. This is what we've been told down the line is Swedish, Irish, Polish, Ukrainian, Hungarian, and I think German we just found out we had maybe some English, I think. A couple of people in my family have done DNA tests, like the heritage tests. I've never done them, but I know for sure Swedish and Ukrainian are the big ones. So that's my bloodline. Your absolute favorite book of all time, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. EOE, babe. Also, I think Such Times by Christopher Coe is a recent new one that I absolutely loved. Could not get enough of and think about all the time. You run a lot, don't you? How does your running weeks look like? I run. I'm running a lot now. I'm breaking out, if you can't tell, and I just accredit that to sweating copious amounts. I go through phases of loving running, and then I go through phases of just not being motivated enough at all to be able to do it. So I don't run all the time. I usually am a seasonal runner. Right now I'm back into running, and maybe I'll run like 2-3 times a week, and I love it. I run around the track, the local track here, and it's fantastic. I'd love to hear about what keeps you in New York City. What kinds of niche does it offer for you that you love in terms of things to do, places, best libraries? I'm moving to New York City in the fall for grad school, and it's exciting to hear what the city means to different people. Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with New York City. Right now, I'm deeply in love with it. A couple of years ago, I was thinking about moving out. I dream of owning real estate. Call me crazy. I want to experience the American dream. That's really not that feasible in New York City sometimes. I rent my apartment, and I pay a really good amount of money for it right now, knock on wood. New lease is coming up very soon, but I always toy with leaving it, but then I think it's so rich in culture. I can go to any museum. I dream of a painting, or I want to see an artist, and I can just go and see that. I can go to shows. I can see movies. I have access to everything. I love the freedom of being able to step outside my door and having chaos and movement constantly. That's very attractive to me. If you're coming to New York City, though, my biggest tip for you, get a library card. Very simple. I think all libraries are beautiful. I truly do. I can't pick a favorite one, but I do advise that you get a library card and then you sign up for Culture Pass. Basically, if you have a library card, you're signed up for Culture Pass. Culture Pass offers you so many different opportunities to go to museums for nothing. Usually you can bring in a group of like 2 to 4 people. I've even gone and seen off-Broadway shows with that. There's so many things that you have access to with Culture Pass. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And also download Too Good to Go. It's an app where you can get extra food from places, and it's so cheap. I am a very frugal person. Saving money in New York City is a skill that I have. Okay, somebody said you were actually the best and deserve this 100%. I love you. I love you. Tell us more about your other hobbies, running, wardrobe, and what a day in the life looks like. So a day in the life is usually me struggling to wake up in the morning. Sorry. It's really hard for me. Lately, I've been waking up early, which feels great. Lately, I have been waking up, reading a little bit in the morning. I'm just getting over a reading slump. And then I just loosely plan out my day. Whether it's a filming day, it takes me a couple of hours to get ready for that, just because I'm marinating what I want to say out loud, just talking around my apartment. I don't really script anything, so it's just off the top of my head, and so I'm just getting words in my mouth, getting used to talking, because sometimes you don't talk to people. I have my morning coffee, that's a must. I usually go on a walk. I'm huge on walking. That's my biggest hobby, I would say, is walking. I love walking. I can't tell you how much. If I got paid to walk, I would be the richest person in the world. I would be a billionaire. Jeff Bezos, move over. We got a walker. We got a sneaker queen. Okay? That's me. I love walking. It truly is my favorite hobby. Other hobbies that I have, I love dancing. Lately, I've just been dancing around my apartment. Obsessed with it. Love listening to really good music. I love seeing people. I love making friends. I love talking to people. I love entertaining people. I love that. I love little games. I like doing that. Wardrobe. Talking about wardrobe. I would say my style is evolving this year. I really wanted to take a super feminine approach to my wardrobe this year. I look back on old videos and I don't know what I was wearing. But I feel like once you get older, you start to want to establish a style. And right now I'm in a very hyper feminine sort of look. And what does that mean to me? It's going to change based on the person, what that means for each person. But for me, it means, styling my hair, or I can wear things oversized, but right now I'm looking a little bit more fitted. I like incorporating a heel in my looks, always doing my nails, always wearing a lip. I like that right now. That's what I'm leaning towards, and I think that's how I would talk about my style. Congrats on hitting 100K. Curious to know more about your book club and how you choose the book selections. How often are you meeting with the members, and how many books are you all reading? Yes, so this is for my Patreon. I fell kind of off my book club for a little bit. I mean, I was always reading, but I read Lonesome Dove. That was the pick for January, and that took me so long, and I felt so bad, but I finally finished it. It was a great book, but I just don't know if it was the best for a book club, especially for me, because I fell out of really reading a lot, and I think I felt the pressure of wanting to finish that and just having it mount, and it wasn't really a great experience for me to share that type of long book with other people, but I loved it. I really loved it. I think that was just such an insular experience reading that I didn't really do the best job that I wanted to. But now I'm back. We just read Jazz by Toni Morrison, which I'm about to film my wrap-up video for that. Usually I will pick the book in the beginning and then do a wrap-up video at the end, much more of a commentary type of style with it. I would love to do a live, but I'm just not a live listener. Personally, for me, I do not like live videos. I know it's great for interactions, and I know that people want in-the-moment media, but I just have never liked lives. I always think I'm going to glitch out. I'm traumatized from Zoom. Traumatized. And how do I usually pick the books? I usually just pick a book that seems good. Maybe it's in my sphere of what I already own. Like the newest one that we're doing for May is Sheila Heti's Motherhood, because I was in the library and Mother's Day is coming up here in the United States, and I wanted to read a book about motherhood and what that means for certain people, because I'm of an age where those questions are being asked, and I just want to steep in this for a little bit. So that's how I choose the books. Oh my God, 100K? I've been here since 15K. That's crazy. So proud of you. I love you. I truly love you. Giving you a tough one here. What's your most controversial bookish take? I love audiobooks. I think audiobooks are great. Sometimes when I don't feel like I can read a physical book, I have back pain sometimes. I always have a flare-up here and there, and sometimes it's hard for me to sit down, and walking is my favorite hobby, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I think they're great. I love audiobooks. I grew up on audiobooks. I traveled a lot with audiobooks. I think they're wonderful. I know it's a very contentious point for a lot of people, but I love them. I love them so much. Also, I think a lot of new fiction is bad. I do. It's not because it's bad ideas. Sometimes I think it's bad quality. Sometimes I think it's bad quality, and I want to like them. And I'm trying to actively read newer books to try to remedy that sentiment, because I think I sound like an old fart when I say that. But those are my controversial bookish takes. What is your favorite spot in New York City? Can you tell us more about your acting? What book has changed you the most? Has showed you a new POV, given you a new knowledge? Also, congrats on 100K. Thank you so much. My favorite spot in New York City, I love Chinatown. I love Lower Manhattan. totally love that area. I'm a Lower Manhattan type of girl. I used to live in the Lower East Side. Love where I live in Greenpoint. I think that's awesome. I think it's so cool. I really love it. My favorite thing in the city is the New York City ferry system. I love it. I feel like I'm on vacation every single time I take it. If you're a tourist in the city, take the ferry system. You get such a view of the city, and you really do feel like you are experiencing vacation mode. And it's about $4.50. It's worth it. There's a bathroom. You can also get alcohol in there if you do consume. Those are the neighborhoods, and my favorite thing about the city is the ferry system. Not the subway, that's for damn sure, bitch. Can you tell us more about your acting? Yes! My acting, I do a lot of readings with a theater. I haven't been auditioning this year. I've had a really weird last half of the year. My acting, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm kind of at a weird turning point in my life where I enjoy doing this so much, and I want to see where I can incorporate this into my outside life. And I have had opportunities come up because of this, and I think that's probably where my acting is going to go. But I work pretty exclusively with a theater, and they're amazing, and I like them a lot. I love the people that I've met there, so that's kind of that. What book has changed you the most? What I talk about when I talk about Running by Haruki Murakami and Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Those books changed me. Absolutely. Do you live a slow life on your own terms and tempo? Have you created a safe, calm space to fully enjoy the things you love with nobody rushing you? Yeah, absolutely. I've always been very adamant about my own time and how I live my life. I guess you'd say I'm a little selfish maybe sometimes in the way that I live my life, but I don't make myself uncomfortable for other people. I'm very comfortable in expressing how I want to live my life, and usually that is a life of solitude a little bit, which I enjoy. I like being alone. I am not lonely. Though I do fear being lonely, I'm not lonely. Okay, and then we have, how do you pick the books you read since you don't read many new releases? Truly, if it just jumps out at me. I'll be in a bookstore. Sometimes I see a book and I think, that looks great. I want to read that right now. Or somebody just happens to recommend something to me in passing and I pick it up and it's great. I am such a in-the-moment reader. Whatever I'm craving in that moment is usually what I'm going to read. Congrats on 100K. Been here since 25K. I love you, quarter of the way, babe. My question is what's a book that has been recommended to you often but you haven't read yet? What's been preventing you from reading it? I would say a lot of the really long classics. For a while, Lonesome Dove was recommended to me all the time, and I always made a little note in the back of my head to read it. I obviously got to it. Other ones, like a lot of classics from different countries, I would say I always want to read. I'm always recommended, and I always welcome them. I have lots of friends from different countries, and I would love to read a classic from their country because I think it makes you understand their culture and their history a little bit more, which I think is very important. I would say I'm just putting them off because I know it's going to take a really long time, and especially right now when my job is to read books, consume books, talk about books, inhabit the space of books. Sometimes with these longer books, I want to take a little bit more time with them, really, really understand them. And I don't think I can really give them the proper time, the proper leafing through if I feel like I have to talk about them online in a timely manner. So that is probably the apprehension that I have with that. Love your channel. Congrats on 100K. I love you. You're so well-spoken and amazing at what you do. Could you talk about your reading lore, when and how you got into reading, and for someone wanting to read more but never gets around to it, how you make it a routine? Well, I think it's easy for me. It's a lot easier for me because this is what I do. So there is that. Like, I gotta read. I don't feel pressured by it though. Like I said, with my daily routine, I can wake up in the morning and read at night, set aside time to read. I'm very fortunate to have that. But my reading lore, I think it's so hard, right? Because it has always been something in my life. I'm always trying to make videos, encourage people how to create this habit, especially with reading, because I think it's such a thing that people want to attain. It's like working out consistently. For me, I think like if you're wanting to create a habit, if you're wanting to learn how to read, just set aside 3 pages a day and really pick out a book that feels like it aligns with you. I think sometimes the easiest way to fall into a book is if you really identify with the character. You don't feel like you're reaching and trying to imagine a world that you can't inhabit. The most important thing for me when I'm in a reading slump or when I just feel like I can't get into reading is when I just pick up something like a familiar face. My lore with reading, I've been reading for a long time. I have a whole video talking about the books that like made me who I am, and when those were sort of introduced in my life, that I think is the best way to talk about my reading lore. What's your ethnicity? I talked about that a little bit, right? In your humble opinion, what is the absolute best bookstore in New York City? Not necessarily a bookstore, but the Big Reuse in Red Hook, Brooklyn, I think has some of the coolest and best book selections. Hands down, I've made videos about it. I love that place. What's a really cool, underrated, or lesser known spot in New York City for anything bars, cafes, people watching, art, etc.? I actually really love Astoria. I think for food, Astoria is the coolest place. I used to live in Astoria and I hated it when I lived there, but now I go back and visit my best friend all the time and I think Astoria is great. I don't think it's pretentious. I think it's really clean. I think that the people there are awesome. It's a lot of families. It's in Queens, so it's one of the most diverse places in the world. You can quite literally get food from anywhere, it feels like. When I got introduced to this channel, I really liked the one video on books to tackle brain rot. I got the Philosophy of Walking book, and I enjoyed that a lot. I'm so happy. Thank you. If there are other philosophy of books or essay collections that zero in on specific topics like that, I would really, really be happy to hear any other recommendations. Well, that author, Frederic Gros, I read Disobey, and it's all about disobedient, like organized disobedience within groups of people who kind of took a stand against something. And I thought that that was interesting. I think that Philosophy of Walking was much better. I don't really read too much philosophy, honestly. I think I said in that video that I'm really not that intelligent enough for it, but I don't read too much philosophy. I would say like Clarice Lispector, even though she is fiction, I would say a lot of her books teeter on philosophy, tender philosophy of the female mind and female experiences. First of all, congratulations on 100K. I'm so proud to say I've been here since the beginning and I'm a huge fan and I love your content. I love you. Thank you so much. My questions are, I got a few. What are your money saving habits? Oh, I'm a frugal bitch. Okay. I am so frugal. I grocery shop a lot of the times. I'm just now getting back into going to restaurants because it's, warmer weather, but I grocery shop a lot. I cook a lot at home and I'm a bad cook. I use Too Good To Go. I know I mentioned that out before, but if you're in a city or if you're in an area that has it, it is a luxury and I save so much money, so much money. I also just don't buy a lot of things. I always think, unless it's an urgent need, do I need to have this right now? And more often than not, the answer is no. And I really live by the rule of thinking about something for a while before buying it. And if I can't get it out of my head, then I purchase it, usually after like a month or two. How do you usually manage your finances day to day? I am totally in charge of my finances. I would say I'm probably the one in the relationship that is in charge of the finances. I check my money every single day. I am so financially literate. I love money. I love just knowing how it works, how it can work for me, and being aware of what I can and can't afford. I always like to have multiple streams of income. I know it sounds like, you need to have multiple streams of income. I've been doing this since I was young. I always had 3 jobs, always dipping my hand in something else. It might not have been the most lucrative job, but I always had an awareness that money buys you freedom. It buys you the ability to travel. It buys you just ease. I hate to say it, always being hyper aware of my financial surroundings has been a very important thing for me from a very young age. And always just save your money. Just save your money because you don't know when you're going to need it. Would you want to live in New York City forever, or do you see yourself leaving at some point? If you left NYC, would you prefer buying a big house and settling outside of the city? I want to buy my parents' house. I want to buy my brother out and I want to buy my parents' house. That's it. And once I have that place, I'll be fine. And maybe I can buy another place, but I want to buy my parents out and then I will take care of them. So yes, I will probably leave New York City at some point. When that will be, I don't know. Ideally, I would love to split my time between the two. I want to own a house. My dad built that house. I want to keep that house. I love that house. I love where it is. And I'm so proud to call that my home. Would you ever consider moving to Europe for a completely different lifestyle? Absolutely. I think about it all the time. I think about disappearing all the time and just living in Europe. I was supposed to live in Europe, Ukraine. That's really not an option right now. I would love to live in Europe. Yeah, Of course I would love to live in Europe. And who knows, maybe at some point in my life, whatever happens here, whatever happens in my life, maybe I can live there for 6 months. The beauty of having this job is that I can be relatively transient. What kind of lifestyle would you want long-term? Fast-paced city life or something quieter and more relaxed? I think as I get older, maybe I want something a little bit chiller, just gather my thoughts a little bit, but I do love the stimulation of a city. I love having access to things because I grew up in such a small town and I always pined for that adventure in just day-to-day life. It's hard, right? When you have one thing, you always crave the other. If life got really crazy, I would just move and be so radical and just go somewhere completely nuts and experience something I haven't experienced before and see what that does for me. So that didn't really answer your question. So I guess the question is it possible for you to read more manga? Yeah, of course. Manga has been great to me on this channel. The Berserk people have been awesome. So yeah, of course I want to, 100%. Not really any questions here, but congrats on 100K. You're one of my favorite book channels. I'm so happy to see you keep growing. Thank you so much. Congratulations. My question is, when life becomes a bit much, are there any books you find comforting or that raise your spirits? Yeah. I'm a big rereader. I think that's a really important part of my reading experience. I just reread White Oleander, I think 2 years ago, always in the winter time when I feel a little bit sad. I like to read books from my childhood that were really affecting to me, books that I read when I was 18, 19 that had profound impacts on me. I think that is a way to just make me look back at myself at that age thinking that I was never going to be able to do all the things I want to do, and just reflect at this age and think, you know what, you're doing a pretty damn good job. So that's probably what I seek when I'm feeling down. What are your favorite plays that you performed in? I would say like anything comedic. I'm a comedy queen. Anything that is really a weird character that I get to explore. I like immersive stuff. I like dealing with the audience. I like being on top of people. Those are some of my favorite things that I performed in. I've always wanted to ask this question. What is your hair care routine and how do you style it? As a curly head myself, I can't help but wonder, how do you keep your curls looking fabulous 24/7, even during your travels? Well, my hair's a little dry right now. I really started to take care of it probably like 2 years ago. I use Trader Joe's leave-in conditioner. Is a bitchin' product, okay? There is a weird after smell. Smells like omega-3. I don't know. Maybe there's like some fish oil in there, but it does stink a little bit. I use Olaplex curl, like bonding curls. I just started to use K18 because my ends are fried. I just started using these Wella products, which I really, really like. They've added a lot of bounce and richness to my hair. I also use Davinus oil and products sometimes, and I don't mind to spend money on my hair because my hair is something that people pay attention to, and I do think that it's a calling card. So my hair might be my brand. I don't know. And I've only recently started to feel super sexy with my hair. Did you go to college? If yes, what did you major in? No, I didn't go to college. I did not go to college. And does that make me a less reputable source for talking about books and having intelligent conversations? I don't know. Take away what you want from that. But I feel like an intelligent, well-rounded person. And I didn't go because I didn't want to be in severe debt. My parents are wonderful people, but they said, we're not helping you pay for that. And I'm so happy that they did not, because I worked a lot, and it's a little bit of a struggle, obviously, feeling like you're kind of wading through life in no particular direction. But I'm happy that I didn't go, because I can assure you, I had no idea what I really wanted to pursue. I love acting, but I didn't really know if I wanted to get a degree in theater. So I didn't go. And I just worked and I traveled and I loved it. So yeah, that's not for everybody, but it was for me. I literally forget that I didn't go to college. It doesn't bother me at all. At all. Reading was my education. This may be superficial, but how often do you do your nails? What is your routine? They always look fab, and I'm honestly jealous. I love your channel since the beginning. You're the coolest. You're the coolest, babe. I do my nails about once a week, and I do a whole nails and gossip on my Patreon. I know that not everybody has access to it, but I usually just use like an oil. I ran out of it, so I have to get it, but I use just a variety of nail products, and I love doing my nails. It was my COVID thing that I taught myself, was how to do my nails, because I never used to do my nails, and now I do them all the time, and I feel so good when they're done. And I also chew my fingers, which is a horrible habit that I have. And doing my nails just makes me feel like my fingers look a little bit better because they're completely scarred. So I just want to make myself feel good. How old are you and what's your heritage? Your bone structure is beautiful and you have a very symmetrical face. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That comment made me smile. I really appreciate it. My heritage talked about. How old am I? How old do you think I am? No, I'm 32. And don't say that you thought I was older. Please do not say that in the comments. I literally don't want to hear that. I want to be told that I'm younger. Every time I meet people in person, they think I'm like 27. So I think on here I present a lot older because I'm talking about books. I'm talking about things that I have to really focus in. But in my day-to-day life, I'm really giggly and silly. And people think I'm really young. I'm also really short in person. So I think that lends itself to it a lot. And yeah. 3 places you would love to live if not New York City. San Francisco is my favorite city outside of New York City in the United States. So I would love to live there. Tokyo, I would love to live in. Out of all the places that I've visited, that's probably a place that I would like. It would be a dream to live there. I dream of living in the Southwest. Yeah, I think there's a part of every artist that dreams of living in the Southwest in the United States. There's just something eerily romantic about that. And I would love to live there. Did you end up going to that trip to Ireland with some of your subscribers? I don't remember seeing anything about it. No, I didn't end up going. And it was heartbreaking. I really wanted to go, but unfortunately, not enough people signed up, which I totally understand. It was a very expensive trip. Times are tough. Maybe there'll be another opportunity to do that in the future. If not, if I end up going to Ireland, I will let you know. There's so many literary figures from Ireland, and I would love to get there at some point. I've also just heard so many wonderful things about Ireland. I've never been, and I would love to go. What got you into manga? More specifically, Berserk, and what is your favorite panel or quote so far? What got me into manga was I just like disturbing books. I like books that push the boundary of what can be delivered on the page. I think that's something, I like disturbing things. I don't know. I just think that's a really interesting way to explore emotions, and Berserk always kept on coming up as a book that it's stuck with people forever, and so I wanted to get into it. I think anything with the dreams I like, quote-wise. I think those are very interesting explorations of the simultaneous ways that Griffith and Guts are living their lives. It's happening at the same time, but it's just so vastly different. I think that's really interesting. Congratulations on 100K. Regarding my questions, which medium, games, literature, movies, TV shows, and then which specific work do you consider the most brilliant in terms of concept? Oh, God. That's a really good question. I think all of them have a degree of being brilliant. Personally, I think it's looking at the core of the adaptation, like the origin of the thing, right? I think a lot of literature is the origin for really successful movies, TV shows, some games. Maybe brilliance is captured there at the beginning. Obviously, I think writing is the epicenter of all of those things coming to fruition. So maybe that's the most brilliant in terms of concept. Oh, by concept, I mean the reinvention of narrative codes, novelty, uniqueness, ambition, risk-taking, experimental nature, scope, and possibly density, not necessarily leaning towards abstraction. I would probably stay with literature. And maybe I'm just being biased because that's what I talk about. But I watch a lot of movies, and I love exploring weird movies. So maybe that would be the next option, because I think when a movie is done really well, and I haven't seen like a ton of new movies that feel super original and organic, but a lot of the older ones, you look at just the way that they're able to weave in the storytelling and special effects and things like that, and I really love it. Who is your favorite fictional character? And then I'm going to tie in the next question, which is which fictional character do you think is the best written from what I've read? I think Kathy from East of Eden is a really good character. Not good person, but I think a character that sticks with people, and I think is executed well in just staying with you and just understanding the degrees of humanity and why people do what they do, and just how do you empathize with somebody who's just so wrong. I wouldn't say she's like a favorite fictional character, but I think she's the most intriguing to me. I feel that way about Emma Bovary as well. I think really complicated and sometimes horrific women, but you still have to understand how they move through life, and that's really intriguing to me. Do you think you would be capable of reading a text like Finnegan's Wake right now, in terms of complexity? Not right now. Not right now. And going back to the conversation I was having before about really taking on these massive books in like a public space, I would like to read that at some point, but I just don't know if right now is the time. Also, I don't know if I'm mature enough for it. I'm really an immature baby. Sorry, I just got a coffee delivery that I had to take. Congrats on 100K. This video sounds fun. Here's a few. What's something your family always says about you? This is a great question. I think my family always says, she'll be fine. I'm not worried about her. I've always been an adult, and I've always been raised as an adult. So I think when shit hits the fan in my life, and it has, my parents are always saying, she'll be fine. I'm not worried about her. She'll be good. My mom definitely says that. I think they'd say that I'm funny too. I think they'd say that I'm really funny, entertaining. My parents are awesome, and so is my family. I have a funny story where my grandmother made these little books for all the grandchildren, and when they turned 18, she would give them to them, and it was all these little funny quips and things that the kids said all throughout their lives. And when I turned 18, I'm the youngest out of all the grandkids, she said, you didn't say anything funny. You were just always an adult. So I think that is, that's me. That's me in a nutshell. What are you really into right now that might surprise people? I think the type of music that I listen to is always really surprising to people. And I'm really particularly interested in a lot of industrial music right now. I love industrial music. I love just sounding like pistons and machinery are running around outside me, and that's what I really like. And I think also the type of movies that I like, whenever I tell people that I'm like really into body horror or really messed up movies, they're always saying, what's something you're weirdly particular about? Who I spend my time with. Very, very particular about who I spend my time with. I can talk to everybody. I can have a great time with everybody. But when I am just at my house or when I'm choosing to spend time with people, I'm very particular about how I carve out that time and who I spend it with. I think I'm very good at sniffing out who's going to be a compatible person with me. I think there's a lot of really good people, but I think compatibility is a really important thing to me. And I have amazing friends. Like my best friend, Craig, I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people in the world, and we've never fought. Like, I don't fight with my friends. That's when people tell me that they're having beef with their friends, I think that's not a friend. Congrats on 100K. What are your favorite songs, current and old? Oh my God, that's so hard. I just was talking about industrial music, but one of my favorite songs of all time is You Make Me Feel by Sylvester. I love that song. And you know what? Recently, a song that I can always listen to, and I realized, I'm not ashamed to admit it, Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue. I think that whole album, Fever, was one of the best albums of all time, and nobody wants to talk about it. She's also a short queen, which I love. I love Nine Inch Nails. Tears for Fears was always a really formative band for me. New music that I really like. I don't really listen to so much new music. I guess you could say a band that's kind of new is Boy Harsher I'm really into. Oh, and Gloria by Laura Branigan is one of my favorite songs of all time. Oh, I could listen to that song forever. I just love a like dancey, fun, not that serious beat. The question, I hope you find it fun, was what is the first book you read that you remember, and some childhood faves that you think shaped you as a reader? That I remember my mom would read me a lot of books. There were these books about famous women, important women in history, and they had like big heads. And those were some of the first things that I remember reading alongside my mom, and it shaped my love and my weird obsession as a child with Eleanor Roosevelt. Those I remember reading. And some childhood faves that you think shaped you as a reader: Small Steps by Louis Sakar, the guy who did Holes. That book shaped me. The Watsons Go to Birmingham. That book shaped me. And Stargirl shaped me. Yeah, those books destroyed me, and realized that I was a little emo kid and I just loved to cry. Are you planning to hike the Appalachian Trail? I know you've mentioned it in the past and wasn't sure if it was just a dream or something in the works. I would love to do that. I would love to do that, and I think at some point it will happen. If not the Appalachian Trail, I would love to do the Pacific Crest Trail. I would love to just spend a lot of time by myself thinking. It's a dream, but hopefully it's something in the works at some point. This is the crazy... Have you ever had the toilet paper split mid-wipe and given yourself an accidental doctor checkup? Yo. I don't use toilet paper, so joke's on you. I'm kidding. That has never happened. Believe it or not, it's never happened in my life. What do Oleg and Peepaw bond over? Outdoor things. Building. They bond over. What's your mom's most treasured item in her collection? We've talked about this because my parents watch Antiques Roadshow, one of the best shows of all time. And I asked her, what would you put on there if you could do it? And she has this vase that she got years ago. It's very heavy. It's a piece of decoration. I think it's maybe been in some videos as well in the background, but that's her most prized possession. And she has so many wonderful things. And she's always showing me what she got. And it's a lot of fun to just see the inspiration just wash over her when she gets something new, because her mind is remarkable. My parents are remarkable people. Truly, I'm so blessed. What locations are in your travel bucket list? Southeast Asia. Would love to spend 6 months there. Parts of Europe I haven't been to as well. I would love to get there. Specifically Greece. I always forget that I really want to go to Greece. Like really, really, really want to go to Greece. Iceland I would love to get to. God, everywhere. Everywhere. Would love to get to Australia. I had an obsession with Bondi Beach, Bondi Rescue a couple of years ago, and it got me deep into an obsession with Australia. Yeah. Anna, congrats on 100K. What are some Indian authors that you want to read? Who are your favorites? Favorite is probably Jhumpa Lahiri, a new one who I love. Who I want to read, the one that's coming to my mind right now is the one who wrote Mother Mary Come to Me and The God of Small Things. I'll put her name here. Roy is the last name. Would like to read that book. And a lot of her books. I haven't read any, so I would like to read that. Congratulations. My question is if you can recommend one book to everyone, why is it and why? It's always East of Eden. I think that's just such a book that so many people can get something taken away from. Trying to expand my recommendations because I realize I've talked about East of Eden so many times, but I just think it's such a great staple of American literature, especially from an American. I feel like I could recommend a book from a different country for so many people, but I think just something so intrinsic to who I am and my experiences in life, I think East of Eden is just such a monumental book that so many people can get something out of it. And I think it would be really particular to who I am and what I would want to impart on people. Do you notice a difference in writing and philosophy with the story, characters, etc. when reading Japanese media like manga as opposed to more Western books? Maybe not in philosophy. Definitely there's differences for sure. I think it's just maybe the way that the media is laid out for you. I mean, a manga is obviously much more drawing, but I still think focusing on central themes that you can identify in a lot of Western writing as well. Japanese writing, if we're going to even just veer away from manga, I would say that Japanese writing is different than a lot of Western writing that I've encountered. Lots of, again, just branching into different countries as well. I think, like me as an American, having been raised in America, knowing a lot of American values and a lot of things that are very impressionable to Americans, I think I am able to identify that a lot in American writing, even in like Western writing, if you want to say that. But I think even when you extend to so many different countries, the values of things that are measured in the books are a little bit different. And I think that's great to read about. I think sometimes a fictional story about a country is even as important as reading a nonfiction story, because I think you really understand emotionally where people are at. And that is just as important, in my opinion, than just straight up facts. What is the most adventurous thing you've ever done? Well, wouldn't you like to know? A lot of adventurous things. And I think I pride myself on being adventurous and spontaneous when the moment calls for it. I went to Aruba for one day. I had an old roommate that was a pilot. He got me tickets for cheap, and I went for one day to Aruba. Traveling by myself, I was super adventurous, just said yes to everything, met a lot of people. There's a story that I always tell when I was taking a bus from San Sebastian to Biarritz to Paris, and it was this Flixbus. If you've ever ridden a Flixbus, you know that those things are nasty. But I just had a backpack. I was just traveling with a backpack, and I put my backpack in the stowaway area for buses, and I was on this like 10-hour bus ride, and this girl giving me a sleeping pill, and I took it, crazy, but yeah, I took this sleeping pill and I like passed out and I woke up halfway through, and the people that were sitting next to me at the beginning of the trip were gone, and there was this like lovely Irish couple sitting next to me, and I gave them my phone charger and they were so kind. And I remember I got up to use the restroom and I was kind of, walking through the seats, like the seat area, the aisle, and I went down to use the bathroom and I hadn't used it yet, and it was like just such a tiny little vessel of a bathroom. I mean, it was like a not even 2 square feet. And I had noticed on the floor of the bathroom there was just all this water and disgusting stuff. And I said, well, that's weird. So I kind of like propped myself up, went to the bathroom and went back to bed and promptly passed out. Well, I finally got to Paris and I went to go get my bag from the stowaway area, and I realized that my bag was conveniently right underneath where the bathroom was. And then when I got my bag, it was just soaked in that water. Ugh, and I had to wear it and all my clothes were trashed, and it was, you just pick up the pieces and you go. So I wouldn't say that's adventurous, but I just have so many stories like that where I've just said yes, and just, I'm a very casual person and I'm pretty amiable. So yeah. Big, well-earned and overdue congratulations, Anna. Here's to 100K more. Thank you so much. What are some of your favorite films? In addition, what are some books that you'd like to see adapted into films/shows? Ooh, good. Favorite film is Seven. I love that movie. I just rewatched it recently and it still holds up. What's in the box? I love that. I love David Fincher, love Nine Inch Nails, and I love to see the collaboration between the two in the opening credits. I think it's just a really good movie. I love like a weird movie. I just watched the first Funny Games by Michael Haneke, director of The Piano Teacher. Don't we love to see it? I just like weird films. Love Metropolis. Love that movie. I love the movie Match Point by Woody Allen. I know. I'm sorry, but I love that movie. Documentaries, Grey Garden's one of my all-time favorite movies. Reminds me of my mother. And Documentary Now did the remake of that, and it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. Comedy-wise, Napoleon Dynamite, epic. Epic as all hell. And my cousin Vinny, love that movie. Just rewatched, again, Kill Bill. Both volumes. And I think that's one of my most rewatched movies. Just sitting through and enjoying it. Love that. Books that you'd love to see adapted into films/shows. Oh gosh. It's so hard when there's so many that like you just read. I think Such Times by Christopher Coe would be awesome. If you could have dinner with 4 authors, who would they be and why? John Steinbeck. Come on now, baby. John Steinbeck, Patti Smith. I made a video about this once. John Waters, maybe David Sedaris. Yeah. After Berserk, do you plan to continue dipping into manga? Yeah, for sure. What is the most significant lesson you learned from a book? I think this ties back into what I talk about when I talk about running and Wild by Cheryl Strayed. As funny as those two are, I think resilience and how we amend the story of our own life is very important. What's your favorite thing to cook? Ya mans is looking for new recipes. Baby, I'm a bad cook, but I do try. I eat a lot of like raw vegetables just because I'm like, well, they're still good without cooking them. I do make this thing called anchovy pasta, which sounds rancid, but it's so good. It's potatoes, garlic, anchovy, angel hair pasta. Come on. I also have been getting into a lot of juicing. That sounds annoying, but it's true, and I'm very good at juicing, babe. Very good. Congratulations, been here since 40K. I love you. What book would you recommend to high schoolers? I think, because this is still on my mind, Jazz by Toni Morrison. I think my high school did read Beloved. Every time I talk about Beloved, I'm like, did I read this? And I think I did in high school. I think Jazz is better, maybe. I loved that book. I would say One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. That's a really good book that I would recommend to high schoolers. And I think it would capture high schoolers' attentions in a way that maybe a lot of other classics might not, because Ken Kesey was also such a weird character, and I think that's a really great book, and I love that book. Did you go to college? If so, what did you study? I didn't. Do you have any other hobbies other than reading? Yeah, walking, talking, hanging out with friends. I think that we talked about that in the other hobby one. Congrats! Would you ever consider vlogging? I'd love to get to know that personal side and see more spontaneous moments, even if they're boring. I especially love boring vlogs. Same. Same. I love to watch a vlog. I have vlogged before, and I don't think I'm really that good at it, honestly. And it's something that I want to get good at. I think vlogs are fun. And I could talk till I turn blue. I could talk forever. Hence this video going on as long as it has. I think I'm successful at being very public while simultaneously being very private about my life. Sometimes I think I'm so in the world of not turning on a recording device. That's where I fall short with vlogging. I'm not that person, but I want to get good at it. So maybe I will. Yeah, maybe I'll reintroduce vlogs on this channel. I have a lot of vlogs that I do on my Patreon. Congrats, love all your book content. I love you. Nothing's off limits. Do you earn enough money from YouTube alone? Yes, I do. And I'm so thankful for that. It's awesome. It took a while, but yes. What do you think helped you to get to a community of 100K? Consistency and recognizing what people wanted to see, understanding the algorithm, as boring as that sounds, staying as authentic as I can to what I naturally want to talk about and make videos on, while seeking expanding my audience. Being as authentic as you can on the internet, as cheesy as that sounds, really resonates with people when there's so many different options to choose from. What are things that you like or do that are very unexpected / would surprise us? I think music, yeah. Like music, going to like not hard dancing, but like really dancing it out. Like I want my brain to explode from music. Do you have a partner? Yes. Are you straight, bi, gay? Straight. You more of an introvert person with few friends or extrovert with tons of friends always around? I'm like an introvert extrovert. I think I talked about it earlier. Can talk to anybody. I feel very comfortable in a public situation. When I walk into a room, I never think, oh my God, how's this gonna go? I always think, great, let's chat. Like I'm so comfortable with that, but I'm very, very, very particular about who I'm spending my time with. Do you want kids? It's something I wrestle with all the time. My parents had me later in life, so I haven't even started to think about it. And I think I just want to be financially in a place that makes a little bit more sense to have somebody else come into the world. Do you want to travel? Oh yeah. It's like the most important thing in the world to me. Do you want to stay in New York City? Kind of answered that, I guess. What advice would you give to someone wanting to make book content online? Be as authentic as possible. Read books that you want to read. Be yourself online. Just be yourself. What do you think of the use of AI to write video essays, to make illustrations, to help you in your everyday life, etc.? I mean, I don't use so much AI on the regular. I think that there's ways for it to augment somebody's life. I think that there's ways for it to be something that's useful. I think we use it every day, whether we consciously use it or not. It's here and it's going to rapidly expand in a way that we aren't even going to be able to control at a certain point, I think. And I am not like actively seeking it. I don't use Chat GPT. I don't use it in the construction of any of my videos. I'd be a little silly if I didn't say that I didn't use it in some capacity, because it's like when I Google directions, there's use of AI there, It's here, and that's the unfortunate thing. Am I actively using it all the time? No, not at all. Favorite content creators on YouTube? Dude, I love like 48 hours. I love 48 hours. I love murder shit. I love it. And ASMR and murder. My mind has multitudes. What's your goal with your channel or in life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would love to make enough money to give money away. Do you have a good health / insomnia, chronic illness, etc.? No, knock on wood, I don't. And I do sleep really well. Do you know anyone with long COVID or Lyme? Yes, I do know people with both. Do you have a pet? No. I used to have a lot. What books are you excited about / released this year or last year? I actually have, it's right here. I have this book, Yesteryear, which everybody's talking about, which I want to read. Excited for that. Do you think reading is essential? Yes, I do. Why? I think you can do anything when you read. You can educate yourself, and I think it's the most important tool for anybody. What is Berserk? I don't get why you have so many vids for it. I feel like it's not for me though. That's all right. Berserk is a manga. So many people are fans of it, and I think it is actually worth checking out, even if it's not your preferred medium. I think you can learn something about what people are attracted to. What works well on YouTube for you? Thumbnail, title advice. Thumbnail is so important. I hate it. I hate making thumbnails. It's my least favorite part of YouTube, but it's so important, and so is the title, which I also don't love to make. When did you start Patreon? What do you post? And is the platform interesting for you? I started about 2 years ago. I've kind of talked about what I post on there, and I like it. Yes, I love it. Actually, I think it's really amazing. Favorite booktubers? I don't really watch too much booktube. I talked about in another video all the booktubers that I like. Yes. Where do you find your book recommendations? Literally just going in a store and finding them. And thank you so much for all your questions. Those were great. Do you enjoy reading any horror books, or do you ever consider getting into horror? Yeah, I like horror books and I want to read more horror. I think it's good when it's really effective, and I love body horror and things like that. So I think that that's really cool. What other content do you read, watch, consume, whether it be other YouTubers, articles, movies, shows, etc.? Talked about favorite movies. I love ASMR. Talked about that. I love ASMR. I am watching Euphoria right now. Sorry. True Detective, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Do you ever write, even if just for fun? If so, how do you go about it, / what does it look like? I used to write a lot, and I used to write in a journal. And I've thought about publishing some of those journal excerpts on Patreon or Substack, things like that. But as I'm getting a little bit older, I think I have a lot more to say, and I think maybe I have a bit more experiences, and I would like to do that. Congrats on 100K. I've been loving your Berserk series. I was curious if you're interested in delving into the monster series. Sure. What is one book you don't understand why everyone loves? Yeah, I am going to have to say Ishiguro books. I want to like them so much. I think he seems like such a awesome guy, and I understand his writing is meditative and beautiful, but I just can't get into those books. I can't. Are you interested in writing at all? Yes. Yeah, I am. Would you rather be able to read any book you want, but I can only read once, no double checking paragraphs, or be able to reread from the books you already read as many times as you want? That's really hard. I think be able to read any book I want, because I think I'd be able to find maybe similar stories in books that I've already read and would like to revisit, and I think I'd be able to just keep on exploring and learning through new books. If you could have coffee with any author, past or present, who would it be? John Steinbeck. If you had a time machine, what year would you like to visit? 1980s. New wave. Hell yeah. What actress would you like to be compared to that you admire, and in which film? Oh, career-wise, I think Toni Collette is always a good one. I think she's a good character actress, and I like the movies that she's chosen, and I think she's had a really long career. I just rewatched Sixth Sense not too long ago, and her performance in that, in the car when she's crying, so good. Is there a book that you feel would make a great movie? Christopher Coast, Such Times. If you could dress in any time period, what would you choose? I really like the 90s right now. Maybe it's just because it's like shoved down our throats. I think that's really just like a simple sexiness, which I'm also really into right now. If you could change an ending of a book, what book would you choose? Oh, Grapes of Wrath, maybe. That's such a sad ending. I mean, it's so effective, but I think it's one of the most standout endings I've ever read in a book. Where do I see myself in 10 years? Making enough money to help people. That's it. Since you don't have any social media, do you still find you use your phone a lot for other purposes when you're bored or waiting, or not really? Yeah, I use my phone all the time, and I hate it. I'm totally addicted to it. What apps take up most of your screen time? YouTube. Yeah, that's right. And have you ever considered living completely without a smartphone? Yeah, all the time. All the time. Don't we all live in that world? What do you and your bestie think of I Feel So Free in the Confessions 2 album cover? Oh, this is about my best friend, Craig. We have a Madonna superfan. I haven't listened, but I know that Craig, my bestie, is obsessed. Okay? Do you ever feel hesitant on starting a YouTube channel? No, I didn't. This is probably the most important and right thing I've ever experienced. I don't feel that way about my acting. I'm always apprehensive to invite people and tell people that I'm acting in something because I think I'm gonna be bad. But with this, I wouldn't shut up about it. I would not shut up about it. And I never felt embarrassment because everybody's online now in some capacity. And why not use this in a way that feels good and entertaining and makes people happy, I hope. I think this is a really positive version of social media, and I'm so happy that I did it. I don't feel embarrassment at all. At all. I'm like, great. I love it. I love it. And everybody should have a YouTube channel. You're going to look back and wish that you filmed yourself when you were younger, or have little capsules of life. And every single person should have a YouTube channel. And I stand by that. You have no idea where it'll take you. And it's so great. Okay, and then we have, what kind of dark stuff do you read that the eclipse has nearly no effect on you? It's good for you. I'm going to make a whole video about this because so many people are interested in this, and I will tell you when I make the video. Loved Welcome to Wood Creek in the current season of Daredevil Born Again. DMs are supposed to let the PCs be their own storytellers. I don't know what that question means. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that means. How do you get out of a reading slump? I read books that feel like what I'm going through. Because usually if I'm in a reading slump, something's emotionally probably triggering it. Whether I'm too stressed, whether I feel really depressed, whether I'm just like having a crazy time and having like a great day. And if I'm like super happy, things are going amazing, sometimes I don't want to read. I think I just like to read a book that feels reflective of those emotions, and that always helps just align everything. I also will sometimes pick up old favorites, nostalgic reads. Those help me get back into reading. Hello, Anna. Love your videos and your way of delivering. Thank you. I want to recommend you a book by Banu Mushtaq named Heartlamp. I looked this up. If you've read it before, please suggest some books like this. Thank you. This won the Booker Prize in 2025, and this looks amazing. Thank you for giving me that recommendation. I really am intrigued by that. Books like this, to me, the impression is that this book is all short stories. Jane Smiley's collections feel like that might be something that aligns with that. Maybe like Annie Arnaud's, some of her short stories, even though I kind of have beef with what I've read from Arnaud. Clarice Lispector feels like that's right. Jhumpa Lahiri, maybe Jamaica Kincaid, that feels like that's right. You may have addressed this before, but are there any authors whom you detest, and if so, why? William S. Burroughs. And the only reason that I detest him is because he killed his wife and got away with it. Even though he said it was an accident, he killed his wife. What are your thoughts on supporting the art when you find out the artist is a terrible person? There's a comic that was life-changing for me growing up, but in the last few years, the writer has been revealed to be someone who took advantage of his power to prey on women. Yep. It hurts not being able to recommend this piece that means so much to me because they're trash. Yeah, it's a tough thing, right? Especially when something was so formative for you. I mean, John Steinbeck, I keep on talking about John Steinbeck. Jesus, you do research into him and how he treated some of his ex-wives. He's not a good guy when it came to relationships. I think it's just more navigating what you can get out of it. Maybe not even like recommending it to people. I think it's just much more of a solitary experience of what you got out of it, minus the person who's the artist. I would say the majority of people probably have something in their closet that makes them not a great person, especially artists. I don't have the correct answer for that. I think it's just much more of navigating where you fit in with it all. Have you ever considered writing a book of your own? Maybe not a book, but maybe some stories. I'll start with that. I think anything's possible, and I would love to just do that. Is unracking my plaque an Americanism? Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, brother. If so, what does it mean? It was this. What is the high speed velocity of a swallow? Baby, I don't know. Baby, I don't know. In your Berserk reaction video, mention how you've read things worse than Eclipse. What is the worst thing you've read? You'll find out. And somebody said, I'm new to this channel. Who is your content aimed at? You. My content is aimed at you. I surely feel like I gave you everything. No, I mean, you've given me everything. So the least thing I could do is to just give you some personal answers. And hopefully this wasn't too boring. This is probably going to be the longest video on my channel. And just put this on in the background while you're doing whatever you do, because I think it might be a little bit boring. I hope it's not. Anyway, I just want to thank you so much again for getting me to 100,000 subscribers. This is unbelievable, and I really am so thankful. Thank you so much. We'll be back to regular programming this weekend. You guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any more questions, drop them down below and I'll try to answer them for you. Maybe every 100,000, I'll do another video like this. Thank you guys so much again. I will see you in the next one.